Hi, this is Shane with Funny Family Videos. Mind me as I look over, I am driving, but I thought I'd take a second to explain how to make a kid listen. So looking over, anyone who doesn't know, I have 4 children, and they're all crazy. All kids are crazy. But my kids, I have several ages, 9, 6, 3, newborn. Craziness is my middle name. But to make them listen is the key. Any parent will tell you once you get a kid to start listening, you can start getting them to do chores, you're gold. That's what the goal is. So looking over, what I'm going to do is explain to you a couple steps on how to get that to happen. The first is you need to grade it early. The first step should always be that when your kid is old enough to sit up, you start telling them how to do things. Now some people say, oh, you should let them choose. No, don't let your kids choose at all. If your kid chooses a situation, that means they have power. Point blank, tell their teenagers they should not feel like they have any power. If they feel like they have power at 1, 2, 3, that's when you get the kid that lays in Walmart and screams a holy fit. What you want to do is take away that power. When they sit up, when they want to eat something, feed them what you want to feed them. When they want to go out somewhere, take them where you want to go. That's how kids learn to like things. They see what you like and emulate it. If you're always waiting for your kid to pick something, they're not going to learn by example, and they're going to do what they want to do. And that's what ends up happening. They always want to do what they want to do. The next thing is that have punishment. There's no part of life, childhood, adulthood, teenagers, as you get old, there's not a consequence for actions. Anymore, I hear people say, oh, if you do this to a child, they're not going to grow up right. They're going to be scarred from it. I myself was not punished that much as a kid. But there's ages where people were beat with belts and chairs, and there's still people beat with belts and chairs. There's people who will ground their kids. There's people who put their kids in cages. They get out, they go to counseling, they get better. Kids are adaptable to consequence. I won't say do the harsh ones. By all means, that's not what I'm advertising here. But what I would do in this circumstance is that have a good punishment system. Your kid wants to break the rules, immediate consequence. Don't be one of the parents that waits all day and makes their kid worry. That might work when they get older, but when they're young, they need to have immediate consequence. That tells them right that second they did something wrong, they don't want to do it again. So what I recommend for immediate consequences, spanking should never be done unless they hurt somebody or hurt themselves. Obviously, if they go up and cold cock their brother, yeah, at that point, you might want to give them a spanking and tell them, it's not really okay. Now, that being said, what I suggest doing, timeouts, only if your ears can handle it. I would rather go for grounding. Grounding seems harsh. That's because our grounding when we were kids was harsh. But truthfully, the grounding of these kids doesn't have to be. Grounding's just a term. What I do for grounding, when I start it, I ground it for a couple hours. I mean, go back, sit in a room, no TV, and no matter what they yell or scream, they have to sit there. And then from that point on, my kids know grounding sucks. And if grounding sucks, they want to avoid it. How do they avoid it? Because they don't do the bad stuff. Now, the next thing with grounding, or something I would look over, is that if you're not going to ground someone, do the 1, 2, 3 system. Now for me, 1, 2, 3 means you are in deep shit. But on the same thing, it could be used as just a deterrent for a little kid. My 3-year-old, for example, if I get to 2, he breaks a corner like Dale Earnhardt Jr. Granted, sometimes he crashes, but that's the Dale Earnhardt Jr. reference. He tries. But he gets there right before 3 because he does not want it to happen. And that's okay, because what I want to know is you have a leash. It's just only 3 seconds, and it better be quick. The next thing, once you have a good punishment system, you start doing it early, is you want to start doing chores early. For example, I told you I have a 9-year-old. That boy did not have to do chores till he got much older. And that's because he was the firstborn and we didn't know. Well, what ended up happening? The kid was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He hated it, was aggressive about everything we did, and a lot of fights later, we learned not to do that. Now, second one was a little better. 3rd and 4th ones, they're starting to be cake. But what I would suggest doing to avoid that, when they're young, say 1 year old, have them pick up their toys. Even if you got to stay in the room, have them pick up the toys. Have them help you with everything. Some people are like, I want my freedom, I want privacy. No, you want privacy when they're older. A 1-year-old not leaving you alone is normal. A 9-year-old holding your leg screaming because you won't come back and help them pick up their room sucks. So, in order to fix that, what do? You go through, you start them early. You're cooking, help you cook. You're cleaning, help you clean. You're folding laundry. I don't know if I want my kids to fold laundry, but help them put it away. You get them put it away for you, hey, it's gold. At that point, you're establishing things that they are going to do. It's not a chore if they just have always had to do it. They know they're going to have to do it. They get up, they do it. The last thing is that many people are my kid was bad, so they're not doing anything type of parents. And that's okay if your kid was really bad. If your kid is not really bad, and they just are kind of having a moment to themselves where they're like, okay, this is bad behavior, let it be a moment. They get their punishment, whatever it is, they get their consequence, and then they're done. That's why I always hear, especially at the beginning of my marriage, this was a big fight. Now we're both on the same page. But why are you taking them out? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Because what they did wasn't that bad. They yelled at me. Yeah, I yelled back. We both did something we shouldn't have. I told them not to. I make them say, Daddy, you're the boss. And then we move on. And you know what? They didn't do it again. That's because, yes, they need to know consequence. They also need to know that it's not the end of the world when they do something wrong. You want to make a kid anxious, give them anxiety, make them grounded for a month over not doing their chores. So all you've done right there is explain the littlest thing is going to result in this huge fit. Don't do that. We're not babies, we're parents, and if we're going to do something, we should do it controlled. So what I do, I have a plan. I plan things out early in the day. This is what I want to do with my kids. They have to be really, really bad not to do the plan. Because when I tell my kids something, I want to do it with them. So what I do is I give them leeway. I usually tell them 3 times. Each time it gets a little more severe. First time, I'm like, hey, stop it, knock it off. Second time, it's like, hey, what the heck did I say? And granted, they know by that second time, I'm not messing around. If they get to 3, they better expect to hear me from that end of the road all the way home. Because at that point, I gave you chances. You know how I am. You know how I'm going to be. That's what's going on. So like I said, it takes a lot to get to the point where I don't do something with my kids. I give them a leash. And, you know, my older ones, they're understanding. My younger one really knows because he learned from the older ones. So, for all those people who have one child, and you think this is going to be easy. It's not. It's not. Basically, the first year that child is alive, you ain't going to sleep. There are going to be moments where you want to put your head in the pillows and not get up. Oh, and there's going to be times you get pooped on in the bathtub, which, mind you, that's a whole other situation. But if you want to be able to do this right, set up chores, establish punishments, make sure not to be overly crazy strict on them, and have fun. Kids will only be good kids if they learn from you to be good. And in this instance, they're going to need to learn all the basics to kind of function as people, as little adults, but they also need to learn from you how to have a good time. Just let them see what you like to do, let them learn from you, and you're going to have some good kids. That's the end of my video today. If you have any other comments, questions, leave them below. I'll be happy to answer them. Also, I'm going to be coming out with more how-to videos in the future. One thing about having 4 kids, there's a lot of lessons I've learned, and don't mind sharing them with you guys. But I'm going to sign off now. I got a little more driving to go home, and hopefully I'll talk to you tomorrow.